are back. Sabbath at midnight. We are here ready to go. And as I said before in the intro, my guest, his name is Jeremiah Babe. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you guys about himself and where to find all his good stuff. Jeremiah, go ahead. And I'm enough talking for me. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where to find all your links and all your good stuff.
My name is Jeremiah Babe. Last name, just like Babe Ruth, B-A-B-E. You can find me on YouTube at Jeremiah Babe. And I've had a YouTube channel for 7-8 years now, just talking about pretty much the economy and the societal breakdown that we've been watching take place for many, many years. We saw a massive economic crash in 2008. It never got fixed. We never really recovered from it. We poured a lot of money into the economy, trillions of dollars, and now we have an economy where inflation is running out of control. People are losing jobs. My background was in luxury real estate and private security. And like I said, 7-8 years ago, I got into social media. I started connecting the dots. I probably really woke up to things around 2013. And just started connecting the dots and started talking about it, and things have grown. And a lot of people like myself, like you, have really up, and we're now really watching spiritual warfare take place right before our very eyes. And I always tell people this is multidimensional. You've got to be preparing mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. And things are just starting now.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And that's why you're on the show, because, we think alike. The audience doesn't know me and you have, a bigger friendship outside of this little conversation that we're having. But, yeah, I agree. Everything that you said, this is not one dimensional, and people have to understand that, and I'm talking to the people, and I'm not, picking on you guys. I'm trying to wake you guys up. There's a lot of people out there that believe in God and they think, I don't need to worry about anything. I'm just going to sit in my house and pray. I don't need to get water. I don't need to get extra food. I don't need to learn how to defend myself. I don't need to stock up on medicine because God got me. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that, but you're not reading it. You're not reading the book and understanding God the right way, in my opinion, because you can't just do that. There's many stories in the Bible where there was enemies at the gate, in numbers that were way bigger than the people that God had. And they didn't just pray to God and the enemy just disappeared. No, they prayed. They had to armor up. And they had to go out and they had to do their battle. And that doesn't mean, every battle about God is, killing each other. But it's a metaphor for me saying that no matter what it is, you have to put the physical work into it too.
Absolutely. And I would go all the way back to the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, Noah. It took him, roughly about 100 years to build that ark. God didn't just save Noah and his family. He built that ark. It took 100 years to do it. People laughed, ridiculed, made fun of him until the rain started coming down, and then all the jokes ended and the laughing stopped. So I think we're in a time now where we all need to be building that ark and preparing for a very, very dangerous storm that is coming.
Yes, absolutely. Dominic, you have anything to say about that? I see you over here talking. This is my dad, by the way, Dominic Jeremiah.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremiah?
Dominic.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, you're right on.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You're right on point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people believe maybe they're going to be raptured out of these tough times too. And again, we can go back throughout the biblical history where a lot of Christians, a lot of God-fearing people, the Jews, didn't just get pulled out of dangerous situations. They were enslaved, they were persecuted, they were put on crosses. Christ was put on a cross. So I don't think people are just going to escape this, and that God is just going to come out of the clouds and pull everybody to safety. I think people are going to be tested now, and I think he is waking up people who are willing to wake up, who are following him. And the majority of people will not wake up, and they are going to be taken by surprise, and they will be victimized by what is coming.
Yeah, you're right, because the way I read the Bible, and we did a extensive show with Gary Wayne, a 5-part series on Revelation, and there's a word in there used. It's called Philippies, I think it's called. It's a Greek word for meaning suffering and tribulation, all that stuff. And when you read Matthew, Luke, and Mark, it talks about that people will go through a tribulation, and there's a lot of stuff going around the internet and social media. A lot of people believe in a pre-trib.
Right.
But the Bible doesn't say that in Matthew and in Luke and Mark. It says you will go through it, but you will be saved from the mark of the beast. That's when you'll be raptured. The people that follow God, and thereafter, that's when there's a short war in heaven, and that's when the people are raptured, and that ends, and that's when the mark of the beast comes. Then after that, that will be the Exodus, second Exodus, when the people who are in the ocean dead and the also in the dirt and the graves, they'll be revived. And second Exodus is all about Jesus is actually going to lead them and King David away from this Satan. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Revelation that it's really interesting when you read it and get into it and understand the chronological order.
Yeah.
And,
I think people need to be prepared that, they may pay the ultimate price for what they believe in.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But we know where we're all going. This is a very, I look at how fast time has passed here. This is just, a blip of time here. But we have to think about what comes after this. We talk about preparing for things here. They're going to be rough. But we need to be prepared for what comes after this also, because that's everlasting life and eternity. And that's what we should really be concerned about. And, I know a lot of people talk about what's happening financially with the economy and preparing and all that, but you need to be spiritually preparing, because after this is all said and done and we leave here, where are you going?
Yeah, the what's happening with the economy, it's all by design, the way I see it. And you look at the war in Ukraine and Russia, and then you got Israel and Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran, and there's all kinds of stuff going on now, and a lot of people are scared, and they're like, "Well, this is the war of Gog and Magog or whatever." I said, "No, it's not." Read Matthew. It says there'd be rumors of wars, and there'd be wars also, but also the Gog and Magog war is preceded by the two witnesses and the angel who preached the gospel around the world for 3 years. That hasn't happened, so it's not the Gog and Magog war, in my opinion, the way I read the Bible.
Right.
So people get off track with that, and these, start falling. I don't know.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We don't know. I mean, maybe this is just the beginning to everything. We don't know. A lot of people say, well, this is the end times. Well, how do we really know that? The end times could be 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now, a year from now. Nobody really knows, right? Things could accelerate out of control. But I think right now, I don't think this is the end of the world.
No.
But I don't know.
No, it's not. I think for me, I think it's the birth pains in Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, because this precedes the seals and the trumpets and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I see it. I mean, I don't think things will get any better.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, the inflation, the energy cost, just everything's out of control, and people now are, not everybody, but you see a lot of social media narcissists and half naked and getting likes and a million followers just to show their body. I mean, it's just ridiculous now. They have no sustenance. There's nothing to them. They're just That's all they offer.
It's really sad, especially for young people, what they look up to today. And I have to blame their parents to a degree, but social media has made people. You can go back to the Kardashians, but that probably really put everything on the map. And then everybody on social media wants to be a Kardashian, and it's really sad what we look up to as a society today. These are the people that we put on a pedestal. This is who our 12-year-olds look up to. It's very, very sad.
Absolutely. And I will go into depth with that with you. I mean, even wasn't the Jersey Shore older than the Kardashians? Remember the Jersey Shore? That's older than that, right?
Yeah, Jersey Shore,
remember all that nonsense about women were like looking up to being drunk and acting toxic, and then the men were looking up to just being completely stupid and only knowing about the gym. I mean, and I feel guilty because I used to say, let's go GTL, guys. GTL means gym tan laundry, but again, I was like, I was 19, 20, 21 at the time.
But when you look at like the Kardashians following, the multi-millions of people that watch these people on social media, they're at a whole nother level.
They get worshipped.
They get worshipped, and you look at how they got to where they're at. I mean, the mom sold the daughter's porn tapes to the highest bidder, and just sold their daughters, basically. I mean, the family's a disaster, and I'm not going to sit here and judge them. I pray for them, and I wish them the best. But, I mean, we're watching. I mean, Hollywood's a whole other thing. The whole P. Diddy thing, I think, is going to make Epstein look minuscule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on point. All this stuff that's going on, just how obvious, like, to me, I'm going to put a little quotations there. I feel like a normal person, like someone like me and everybody else in the room, that's enough information to just know that that's a no. Like, stay away from people like that. But, you know, you go on social media, Facebook, Instagram, you know, Facebook especially is so toxic, man. Facebook is so toxic. The conversation is, it doesn't matter. You know, I think I have a mental illness, and my mental illness is when I present people with facts and factual evidence, I expect them to agree. But even then, they don't agree. Like, it's at that level. So my point is, even with all this information out about the P. Diddy thing, it doesn't matter if half of it's not true. If only 50% of it is true, that should be enough for everybody to say, this guy's bad, he needs God, and he needs to go through the court process and be punished. But even then, there are people on social media defending this guy. And again, we're not here to judge, but if I were doing that, everybody would be crucifying me right now. Everybody. I lose my job, everything. Agreed. But because he's a celebrity, he gets a little pass because, at one point he knew Biggie, he knew Tupac, but I mean, what's Biggie and Tupac now? It didn't do much good knowing him, did they? You know, so
exactly
that, and that goes for everything, you know, with how the world's working and how the economics are going. And speaking of that, this is why I got you on the show. Wanted to pick your brain a little bit. What do you think with what you see going on with the stock market, the economy? And you know a lot about gold and all other stuff. You could, you know, tell the audience later more about that. But what do you think is the most important thing to do as a family and to get ready for what could possibly come?
Well, you know, I think we've had our eyes really opened with what happened in the Southeast, Eastern Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all that, that a lot of people were not prepared for what was coming. And this storm took a lot of people, I think, by surprise, even though they were warned. You know, let's face it, a lot of people's homes were washed out. They had really no way to protect themselves whatsoever. But there were a lot of people whose homes were saved and did not have food, did not have water, did not have a way to cook, just did not have resources at hand to go a week. And I think about, you know, the amount of earthquakes we're having out here in California now, that if we got hit by a big earthquake and we couldn't get food down Interstate 10, what would we do? I think, you know, one of the most important things to do right now is be able to defend yourself, because we're hearing about the looting, the stealing of food and resources now as the recovery workers are out there helping people. You got to think worst case scenario. If we got hit by a grid, a cyber attack, economic collapse, a terrorist attack, which we know is got to be right around the corner, and you could not go to the bank, systems down, no ATMs. You're going to either have to have enough cash, you're going to have barterable items. You're going to need to protect those items, your family, your assets, your house. I put security, God number one, security right there, food and water and cash.
Absolutely. And
of course, with other things too, trauma kit, tourniquet, things like that, you're going to need candles, matches, things like that. We're talking worst case scenario. And nobody can say now today in 2024, oh, that can't happen. We've seen many cyber attacks are happening daily in this country. We've seen 2 massive storms now in the Southeast. People wiped out. Some people will not have electricity for 4 months. Roads will not, in some areas, be repaired for years. So we also saw the biggest thing. The government is not coming to save you. There is no help. It's really the community, the civilians, the good people in those areas that are helping one another. But you look at the government, they literally have slapped these people in the face and just left them behind and just said, oh, FEMA's broke. You're, sorry. So what happens if we have an earthquake, another natural disaster, another hurricane, another tornado? FEMA's broke already. So these people can't even get $750. And the ones that do will be lucky if they can even qualify for it.
Jeez. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know, Dom, if you have anything to say, go ahead. Do you have anything to say? Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go.
Well, from what I understand, what I read, that this whole disaster over there in Florida and stuff, that people people who were donating goods, it was being confiscated by FEMA. I don't know if it's true. I'm not there, but that's what I read. And if that is true, that is very unfortunate that something like that would be happening. But yet people are, saying that, well, you want to give us $750 and they're supposed to pay it back. But yet you're giving all this money to, Ukraine, billions of dollars, and to Israel. And I mean, there's a fine line there, man. You got to take care of America. And it seems like they don't care. They really,
Absolutely. So last week we gave roughly $8.7 billion to Ukraine and $8 billion to Israel. Afghanistan has gotten like $1.9 billion this year from us, and the list goes all the way down. The multi-billions of dollars that we're giving these other countries with taxpayer money, and these people who pay taxes are getting no help whatsoever. And if you had home insurance or you're over the poverty line, you don't even you will not even qualify for the $750. And what's $750? A TV? I mean, what is? And then on top of that, these people don't have internet. A lot of them, they don't have phones, they don't have IDs, nothing. They can't even get to the app to even go and qualify for this money. So, and when they do get it, what good is it? The grocery stores are wiped out. It's just, to me, absolutely repulsive what the government has done to these people. And then we can go one step further, and now we're going down a rabbit hole here. We can speculate. Those mountains are full of lithium. The highest quality quartz for semiconductors and microchips are in those mountains. BlackRock, Vanguard, the two biggest shareholders in those mines. So, everybody can speculate. I don't know. But what we do know for a fact is there are a lot of people who are getting no help. Where's the military? Where's all that military equipment? They could be dropping generators. They could be setting up small cities right now, as we've done in many, many countries. Yeah. We can bring power, electricity, water, food, housing within days. And you have that big military base in Tennessee. They could be there in 3 hours. None of it. It's all these people flying private helicopters, private airplanes who've been threatened to lose their FFA licenses if they continue, pulling people out of these areas. So it's an absolute disgrace. It's something very nefarious, I think, is going on, and people should be outraged with what is going on.
Oh, yeah. And wait, really quick, I just want to add this to what you guys were talking about. You said, that $750 thing. They have to pay it back. If not, they get foreclosed on or whatever. But I also saw that Elon Musk is offering free internet. But I want to know what you guys think about this. He's offering free internet to the people out there in during where the hurricane's at, but you still have to pay $400 for the dish for the hardware. Do you think it's fair that they have to pay for the $400 dish still?
I haven't heard anything about that. I couldn't really comment on it. I heard that he donated quite a bit. So I wouldn't know enough to really comment on it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you can look it up. It's true. He is giving free internet, but you have to buy the dish. The dish is like $349 plus taxes, like $400.
The sad thing is that they're asking the American people to donate, food and supplies to these people. Where is the U.S. government? The U.S. government could buy multi-millions of dollars of Starlink and put it down there. Yeah. Where is the money? They should be writing checks right now for billions of dollars and getting these areas cleaned up, getting these people to safety, rebuilding, whatever these people need, they should get. These people pay taxes just like you and I, and they're getting absolutely nothing. What if something happened here? They're already telling us that they're broke. And so think about it. It's like your insurance company calling saying, hey, we're out of money. So if your house burns down tomorrow, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And then you got Mayortis, he's out eating high-end sushi, shopping at, high-end men's boutiques while all these people are suffering. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, it is. The thing for me is you have millions and millions of foreigners pouring in here. And, I don't have a problem with people coming in, over here and want to make their life better, but do it legally. Right. But a lot of them are coming in here illegally from all over the world. I'm not pointing at one country. All over the world, and a lot of them are getting free, EBT cards for food, free apartments. Yep. I mean, free cell phones, tablets. I have a brother who lives in Texas, and he says, man, those people are coming over here. They're giving them money, cash, free plane ticket to, I don't know, probably California for all, New York and
wherever. Yeah.
And they're getting, that and free phones and free tablets. Like, man,
that's wild. Why?
That's crazy.
How?
Taxpayer money.
That's all. that's 100% true. And New York has spent billions of dollars just on the newcomers up there. And look, we have people from 160 countries have come in here. So it's not just one group of people. It's everywhere. Literally the whole world is flowing into America now. And they said within the next 3 years, New York alone will spend $5.5 billion just housing the newcomers. Yeah. 150 hotels in New York are occupied by newcomers, people, from other countries. And this is costing a lot of money. It's absorbing a lot of resources. That's why, your car insurance is going up. Your health insurance is going up. Try going to an emergency room. Our system is being overwhelmed by millions of people here that shouldn't be here, using the system. It was not designed to have all these additional people here. It was barely survivable with just us. And on top of that, all the crime we're importing from all over the world too. We have our own crime, but now we're importing even more serious crime into America.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think it was Blaze Media. I think that's Glenn Beck's thing, or so one of those guys. They were talking about how Venezuela was releasing all the prisoners over here, and other countries, and you look at that, all that money, going to people coming here illegally. From in my opinion, I think that's all for changing this country to a one-party system.
Wow.
Because when you look at through this political lens, if you can get a bunch of foreigners here voting for the free benefits and all that stuff they get, of course they're going to vote for that party. So you get millions and millions and millions of other people voting for that party. Then eventually it's going to be a one party. It doesn't matter if you vote Republican, Independent, Green, whatever, Libertarian. It's going to be just one party, and that's a Democrat.
If you import the third world into America, America will become the third world, and we're heading there right now.
I agree.
So you're giving people money and a house, say the Haitians that are here, 8 of them, 10 of them to a house, but that's a high standard of living. They're here, they have a job, maybe they're making a couple $100 a week, I don't know what they're making, but they're getting benefits, they're getting free food, they're making a living, they're driving vehicles. And maybe 8 people live in a house, but to them, from where they come from, it's incredible. Yeah. And so you're bringing people over that really don't have skills. Mm-hmm. And so my question is, down the road, as this economy gets worse, where are the jobs going to come from? Where is the food going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? The health system is being just drained. We're seeing more and more hospitals closing down because they just cannot take care of all these people. And I have empathy for all people. I love people. And I don't want to see people have a miserable life. I don't want to see people suffer. But this is my country, and these are my people here. And I don't care what color somebody is. You're an American. We have to look out for Americans first. And if this country goes, there's no coming back. And we've had it good for a very, very long time here. So good that we've created a lot of very weak, lazy people who are okay with just letting the whole world come here and turn America into a third world country. A lot of people are coming here and they are just milking the system.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I see it firsthand.
And we have plenty of that already here, right? We have enough people milking the system here already, but now you want to import, tens of millions of people to do the same thing on top of, we have our own crime. We're going to bring in more crime, even more serious crime. So, the school systems are in shambles, but then you bring people that can't speak the language into the school system. And what does that do to the school system when half the class can't speak English?
Yeah, it's true. And some of these people that come here, they have no class, and I know that because I was off somewhere doing some medical stuff for myself, and this guy was out there with the leaf blower, and I had my sunroof open, and he was blowing it. He was blowing it to my on top of the car. I'm like, man, I went out there and told him, hey man, can you not do that? Let me close my window, and he didn't speak any English, and I told him Spanish, what you don't be blowing. You see my window's open. Why are you blowing in there? And the guy became offended by that. He started talking a lot of smack in Spanish.
Yeah.
and I had to call the property management. I mean, they have no respect. I'm not saying all of them.
I mean,
I'm not saying all of them, but some of them are just there's no education there. There's no they weren't taught how to in their environmental upbringing. I know that I know that type of upbringing because that's part of my lineage too. So you're taught to be tough and not put up with anybody's stuff, anybody's crap.
Well, you saw, back in New York, what was it, over the summer when the Venezuelans attacked the police?
Yeah.
And then they got out of court, they're flipping off the media and the cameras. And it's just like no respect for law enforcement, no respect for Americans. They're flipping off the cameras. You're coming to a country where a lot of these people just don't care. They're not here, to make America a better place. They're here for handouts. They're here for opportunity, whether it's legal or illegal. And that's not all people, but like you said earlier, there's got to be a right way and a wrong way to come in. And if you're legally coming in, great, we welcome you. And I hope you're bringing some type of skills to America to make America a better place. But we have too many people, no educations, no skills, can't speak the language. What are they going to offer America other than we're going to have to pay for all this? And we're a bankrupt nation. We've now passed $35 trillion of debt. We're about $35.7 trillion of debt. We're a bankrupt nation. We can't admit that, but how can a bankrupt nation be flipping the bills for multi-billions of dollars every year? $150 billion a year is what this is costing us. And I think it's probably even more than that. That's just for importing all these people. We got these wars going on. We're sending money to these countries. We're sending munitions, drones, F-16s at $60 million a piece. At some point this is going to end, and it's going to end very, very bad because you cannot keep writing checks that you cannot catch.
Hey, Enrique wants me to call him, right? Are you ready? I'm going to call him.
Yeah, bring him.
All right, hold on. Let's get Enrique. Enrique is a tax guy, and he has a lot of great information. Give me a second. Let's see what Enrique is doing.
Yeah, I want to touch on the Middle East right now.
Yeah, hold on. We're calling him. Oh, he has that Mexico ringtone again. What's he doing? Let's see.
Hello?
Enrique, give me a second. Hold on.
Go ahead.
All right, we're together. Jeremiah.
All right.
It's me, Jeremiah, and my dad, Dominic. What's going on? Go ahead and say what you guys were talking about. Dominic, go ahead.
All right.
Well, now that Enrique's back, I want Enrique to, he can reiterate what he told me last night on my show. And you can watch, again, my name is Jeremiah Babe. You can go to my YouTube channel. Enrique was on my show as a guest last night. And he told me something that was it blew me away, that, people are so broke that he knows people, he has clients that are using credit cards to pay their taxes.
Yeah, that's correct. This year,
if you could expand on that.
Yeah. So this year, I got an uptick on a clientele asking to pay their taxes on credit cards. And I always tell them, I said, look, you have the state of California after you, and the credit card company double after you, but they won't be as aggressive. They won't go and garnish your bank account. So a lot of people prefer to pay the state of California more than anything. And I always tell them, look, if you can get a 0% credit card, at least it'll give you a little bit of time. But some people, they just pay it with a regular credit card, and the next month, if they don't pay it in full, they're going to be paying a lot of interest.
Damn.
So we're told daily how great, we're told, daily on the media, on TV, how great the economy is doing. And I hear things like this. And, Enrique and myself have gone out many, many times, to feed the homeless. And the biggest food line I've ever seen in my life, we did a show about, I don't know, was it 3 weeks ago? The food line had to be literally 2 miles long over there in Indio, California. Wow. I'd never seen a food line that long in my life. And it's probably going to get longer. So we have a big trouble. So people can ignore it. They can say everything's fine. But, if you're half awake, smell the coffee and take a look around with what is really going on. Food lines 2 miles long right out here. And that's just one of the charities that gives out food out here. So we're seeing people in very, very big trouble. They cannot afford food.
Hey, as you said,
they'd rather pay the credit card.
One flat tire away. one flat tire away from being broke and evicted, as Jeremiah says.
That's it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's no joke. I mean, half the country does not even have $400 saved up for an emergency. So realistically, half the country would have a very, very difficult time if they had a flat tire. They had to go on a credit card.
That's insane. So is that like a statistic that you saw? We don't even have $400.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah, you could Google that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look out here in in the Coachella Valley. A 2-bedroom apartment's running like almost $3,000 a month now.
Yeah, it's like $2,800. I have friends that pay $2,800 to $3,000 a month for a mediocre apartment. It's not even nice.
Right.
And it was never like that before. It just, everything changed.
And then just break down what the average household income is out here. It's probably 50, 60,000. And so half of their income is literally, more than half their income is going to an apartment. That's unsustainable. That's before taxes, maybe health insurance, auto payments, grocery bills. What's left? People are going in the red.
I don't know how they're doing it, man. I have friends that make about, $2,800 a month if they're lucky, $3,000, and their rent is $2,000 plus HOA plus car. I don't even know how they're doing. I don't even know how they're eating.
Yeah, flat tire away from big trouble. Winco. I go to Winco once a week, and the third time now I've asked them in the last year, how many people use government subsidies to pay for their groceries here? The lowest number I've gotten was 70%. Most say between 70 and 80, maybe even higher, they said. So if the government wasn't giving these people money, how would they be eating right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
That's chaos. This is I think what we saw with COVID when people are going wild over water and toilet paper. I mean, this is something coming that's on steroids. Like you were saying, if there's a inflation just keeps running rampant, let's say the next whoever's going to win, the presidency, let's say inflation just keeps running away and we go into depression or whatever, and it's just it'll be mass chaos. Because people won't be able to afford hardly. Right now, people, you go to the grocery store and you buy like 5 items, like $50. It's just crazy. And
absolutely,
we look at the world and a lot of people conjecture about the Great Reset.
Yeah, that's coming.
And when I look at that, I say, well, there's a lot of possibilities with that. There might, once this happens, there's probably going to be just a rich class and a poor class. There's not going to be any middle anymore.
It's a 2-tier system. The haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
The middle class will be decimated, which it is doing right now. And, this is why you have, $1.15 trillion of credit card debt. If you took the credit card debts away from people, the 969 million credit cards are in the back pockets of Americans right now, it would be game over. People are surviving right now, paying utility bills, going to the grocery store because they have credit cards.
Yeah.
When those credit cards run out, they are going to hit a brick wall.
Exactly. Yeah. When I look at this is just out there. This is all in my opinion. I don't know what I'm talking about, but when I look at the Great Reset and I look at the changing of the global economy, I look at a country that not very many people look into, and I've been following this region, the Middle East, and I've been following Iraq because during the time of Saddam's reign, they had a very powerful currency. It was over $3 US to one dinar. And when you look at this closely, and you look at the new government there with there's still a lot of fighting with Iran being there, having their fingers in the cookie jar, but they've been stealing money for decades out of Iraq. Iraq's got probably close to the most oil reserves in the world. They have a lot of gold, over 150 tons. They have a lot of agriculture. They have a lot of new cities. They're going to build like 30 more new cities. They've been meeting with the United Nations, the U.S. Treasury a lot with their Prime Minister Sadani. and their central bank of Iraq governor Alak. And what they're working on is they're going to reinstate their currency. Mm-hmm. So this is the same thing that happened to Kuwait when Saddam attacked them. The United Nations right away and the IMF collapsed their currency, so if it's stolen, it's not worth anything. But once the U.S. saved Kuwait, some people who knew about it, this was back in the 90s, about Kuwait.
Yeah.
Some of these politicians bought millions and millions and millions of Kuwaiti dinar at nothing, maybe, not even a penny. And when they bought 4 or 5 million Kuwaiti dinars for practically nothing, and it switched over back to $3 and some cents, they all became multimillionaires and billionaires. Yeah. And so on Iraqi TV, they're telling the citizens almost every day now about their new currency, dropping the zeros, more purchasing power. And in Iraq, for example, a 25,000 dinar will be, it'll be 25 dinars, which will be equivalent to 3 to 1 here in the U.S., they're saying. So for us, for outside of Iraq, a 25,000 dinar is a 25,000 dinar. So, for example, and once again, this is all my opinion. I don't know what I'm talking about, but a 25,000 dinar, if it comes out at $3 US, that's $75,000 US. So this is part for me. This is part of the Great Reset. If it does go down like that, because they are talking in Iraq, the television, the prime minister.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of different things happening to currency because of the BRICS nations. And I think that a lot of people are underestimating the BRICS and their new SIP financial system because of what happened, what we did. The money we stole from Russia, that we sanctioned them and stole that money. Nations around the world see that as a huge threat. They're dumping dollars now. They're going to continue to dump dollars. They're going to go to new currencies that will probably partially be backed by gold. Iraq, I heard many times that the reason we invaded Iraq was because they were going to go to a gold-backed currency. Same thing with Libya, and we killed Gaddafi.
Yeah, that's right.
He was going to go to a gold-backed currency, and this is what's happening now. We cannot wipe out the entire world. China's too big. Russia's too big. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran. They're all going to be getting out of the U.S. dollar because we've controlled the world with the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. We've completely, in my opinion, abused it. These wars, the millions of people that America killed for absolutely no reason. The sanctions, we have 9,000 sanctions across the globe because we have the world reserve currency. And China's already dumping dollars because they know that when they invade Taiwan, we're going to hit them with sanctions. And so they're already getting out of the dollar. They have a new financial system, and they have huge economies. And I think America, believes that this is the America of maybe like the 1950s or something. Their militaries are bigger. Their technology of Russia, China, their technology is surpassing America. China has the 4 biggest banks in the world, the biggest cities, they're the biggest manufacturer. Russia has massive amounts of gold. They're going to take Ukraine. They're going to take all of the natural resources and minerals and farmland in Ukraine. And the world just isn't going to need America because the world just gives America paper money, monopoly money that is absolutely backed by nothing for physical goods and services. And I think the world is getting sick and tired of that. And I hate to say that because I love this country, but when you're a country of consumers and you just consume with money you don't have, and these other countries are just taking these dollars and they're being controlled by this paper, I think it's just a matter of time before it's the end of the U.S. dollar. It'll be around, but it'll probably just be like the peso or something. There's going to be new currencies that are actually backed by something, unlike the U.S. dollar that is backed by absolutely nothing now.
Yeah, right. And what I heard too today is that the TD Bank in Iraq and the International Stock Exchange Iraq, they have the new rate, but it's not. You can't see it's not public. It's private. But
you said TD Bank?
Yeah, TD Bank in Iraq. That's a different
bank. Okay.
Yeah. And regarding BRICS, I believe if Iraq was going to join them, but they backed out because if they do that, the U.S. has control over all other economies, so they can't do it. It's just, you know, you got that going on. Then recently, Israel had over 30 targets on Iraq because there's still some militia over there shooting rockets at Israel.
Yeah.
And the U.S. said, no, you're not, because they're protecting their interests there. Because even the U.S. Treasury took a floor level at the Central Bank of Iraq recently. So there's a lot of stuff that people don't know what's going on over there in Iraq. And
right.
The reason...
Well, I think a lot of people don't know a lot of things that are going on even in their own country.
Absolutely. Even here, yeah. I mean, how many billions or trillions of dinars do you think the U.S. Treasury has when this goes? They're not going to be in debt anymore.
Right.
And same thing Bill Clinton did when Kuwait revalued, when the IMF, reinstated them. That's how Bill Clinton paid off the national debt. And hardly anybody knows that.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's so much going on right now.
So much. And stuff that is happening in other countries that is going to affect us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you look at the central banks, they are buying massive amounts of gold, record-breaking amounts of gold. China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, literally every central bank across the globe now is stockpiling gold. So why are they doing this? What do they know? They're preparing for something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just hope some people are on the right side if this dinar actually goes, and, you know, they don't have to worry about it if they, you know, if they protect their money, if they take care of their money after it goes, because there's a lot going on over in the Middle East. There's so much going on.
A lot.
I think Iraq, what's going to be, Iraq's goal is to be bigger than Dubai, more luxurious. Mm-hmm. And they have the resources. They have all the oil. And you know, it's just happening. It's just taking so long because of the corruption. And they outlawed the U.S. dollar there the beginning of this year. You cannot use the U.S. dollar there anymore because they want to bring value to their own currency again. And and the only way you can use a U.S. dollar if you're exchanging to come here. That's it.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, if they actually pull the trigger,
there's a lot of moving parts to this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's anybody's guess. There's so many moving parts to this, and you know, a bomb could go off tomorrow somewhere and changes everything. You know, now the threat of the oil fields in Iran, and you're seeing oil prices ticking up. And people don't realize like how fast oil can go to $100 instantly.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you have crazy inflation back in America, right? Everything needs oil: ships, planes, trains, cars, everything. And so everything changes literally overnight. So you know they get hit, and you know oil starts going up very, very quickly. And now we're paying at the pump. Everything on the shelves, all the food, everything's going back up. So I don't think inflation is over. I don't think it's as low as they say. And I think we have to be very, very cautious that we're going to see a real uptick in inflation here very, very soon, because we can't be sending this amount of money over to these countries and not see inflation. What are we paying $1 trillion on the interest now on our debt? And we're talking that, we're almost at 2% inflation. I believe that, like, you know.
Well, you know, that's true. You're absolutely right, because, you know, these central banks, you know, especially the Fed, they're not government. It's a private entity. This whole world's run by 13 families.
Right.
It's just crazy if you think about it.
Right.
Hey, well, we have Enrique on here. Let's get some information out of him, Jeremiah.
Yeah, Enrique.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Any questions? Any questions for Enrique?
Yeah. I want to hear about all this. Like, what do you think, bro? The economy. You're the tax guy. What's going on? What do you see that's a common problem? Like, what's a common problem? What's the solution? How ridiculous is it? How broke are people? What's coming, Enrique? Tell me.
Yeah, so basically what I've seen just overall ever since I would say ever since last year, maybe like late last year, early this year, is people's savings accounts are being deteriorated. I get a lot of people during 2020, 2021, and 2022, they were living on a high life, a lot of money from a lot of different places. And people that usually were broke for many years now had a big stash of savings. But that stash of savings has disappeared because most people, when they come into a lot of money, it just, they don't know how to manage it well. So they spend it on stuff. They spend it on stuff like that doesn't grow in value. So they buy vehicles that depreciate. They spend it on a lot of vacations. They spend it on a lot of going out to Disneyland and Vegas and New York and international vacations. So all that money ends up, going back. Obviously, it helps people in the short term, but in the long term, it makes it harder for them to earn it back. So if all these people go back broke again, then where do they go? They have no savings. So now, when everything has gone up, everything is so high in price to be able to pay every single month all your utilities and food and making sure you have your health insurance in place and your savings. People can't afford it anymore. Why? Because they mismanaged the money that they had. So they didn't do a good job of that. The stimulus was very horrible too. That was a very bad thing that the government did. They put people, they're making people dependent on the government. And a lot of people wanted more and more and more and more. And there was a period of time where people were getting very desperate. They kept telling me, you have to be able to get me more money. Come on, the government has money. Help me out. Help me fill out these applications. I want more money from the government.
Jeez. So, hey, with that being really said, desperate. No, I see it every day. So what I want to bring up something that Jeremiah knows I'm talking about. You know too. This is something that I see common at work and everywhere I go. Yeah. It's a subject that's very small, but for some reason it makes me laugh and it just blows my mind. Okay, so I know people. All right, I know people that make the same. For example, the amount of money I make. Right, I know people who make the same amount of money as I do. Right. Now, let me put just a little bit into perspective, okay? I'm not fancy at all. And I just buy things that I need and that's it, right? So I have a Honda Accord, right? That's my car. 2015 Honda Accord, no big deal, right? It's a regular car. It's a tank. It gets me to point A to point B. That's it. Now, I know people who make the same amount of money as me and they'll be like leasing like a Lamborghini, okay? and they'll be dying to be going broke. They're eating once every 2 days just to afford this car. Now, my question is to you, how often do you see people that spend 80% of their income to look rich? For example, people that lease out Lamborghini. I swear to you, I'm not lying. I know people that spend, let's say someone makes about, I know people that make about, let's say they make $5,000 a month. They spend $3,000 a month on their car. Isn't that insane?
Wow.
And I'm not over exaggerating.
Enrique, they better call you. They better call you, Enrique. They're going to have some tax issues.
So how often do you see that?
Actually, to me, that sounds very immature. I mean, I would think that those people are under 30 years old and they live with their parents.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Or maybe they have maybe it's a girl who has someone that's financing their life, and then whatever money they make, they can use it to pay their Bentley or their Lamborghini or their 7 Series BMW or whatever it is that they have. That. The thing is it's very difficult sometimes to be able to know everybody's circumstances. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there are people out there that are paying Lamborghinis that are making $70,000 a year, but sometimes there's just something behind there. Maybe, I have seen it, though. You're right. I have seen it. It's very common nowadays to be able to see some people that have these very luxurious vehicles, and yet they're broke. Like they literally, broke. If you tell them how much money, I have people come into my office. They show me, a W-2 making $30,000 a year, yet they have a car that's worth $80,000. Wow. I see it all the time. I was telling JD about a girl that she had a W-2. She walked in. She says, "Here's my W-2, $28,000 a year." She says, "You know what? I just got a $70,000 Lexus." And she says, "I deserve it." And she got it. And she lives with her parents. And she's almost 40 years old. Wow. She's almost 40 years old. And she lives with her parents, makes about almost $30,000. That's gross income. and yet she has a $800 or probably even more, I think. Maybe it was an $800 car payment. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a $70,000 Lexus.
That's
insane. Yeah. You see that all the time. Or also, you know, I was telling JB, I mean, sometimes I do have clients, and it's these young women that have these trips that are financed by men, and you look at them and they're broke. Why? Even if they make, you know, $10,000, $12,000 a month, they still don't have nothing to show for it. Why? Because people blow their money. They don't know how to manage it. And so that is the reason why America is very broke, because most people do not have the knowledge on how to make the best decisions with the money that they receive, you know? And the thing is you have all these wealthy people that they know how to set up. Even the wealthy people have problems sometimes, though. I've run into situations where I run into people that are mega wealthy. You know, they have over $1 million easily. I mean, to me, if you have over $1 million, I mean, either you got an inheritance or, you know, you either work very hard for it. But I know people that have over $1 million net worth, and even them, they have problems trying to figure out where to put their money sometimes, or they don't know how to manage it. And the thing is it all depends. I say that if the person has to have specific knowledge about finances or know someone who can help them out, you know, or to be able to get the correct guidance, because there's a lot of people out there that like to take advantage of people with money. So if they know that you have a lot of money, and if you run into the wrong person, that person can bankrupt you because they don't know how to help you to be able to manage, or they may try to take advantage of you and charge you high fees because they see that you have all that money. So just because you have $1 million doesn't give the other person the right to overcharge them on a certain service. But there's a lot of that out there. So in order to be able, you have to be able to do your research when you're trying to find someone to be able to help you to manage your finances. Because there's a lot of people out there that will gladly take your money and they'll charge you these real high fees. And at the end of the day, you're not making any gains because it's all going to the people that are trying to quote unquote help you. You know, so
Damn.
I see that a lot. There's a lot of mismanagement. I think the biggest problem here is education. It's always been financial literacy. You know, and that's the number one thing. I think that's making people in America not being able to have that next level of, you know, where people are saving more or they're investing in their education or small business, you know, instead of investing it in themselves, or to be able to invest it in assets that actually are, you know, like whether it be gold, silver, or, you know, real estate, and make sure that you purchase the real estate, you know, at a good time as well, because if you purchase it at a wrong time, that could mess you up too. You get all these people that buy into the hype, and then all of a sudden the prices drop, and then they're upside down.
Yeah.
Damn, Enrique, that's funny, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not funny. Look, God knows who people who know me know I've been through my fair share of financial situations, and I've gone through 3 cars in this past year, just all bad luck, and life is hard. But at the same time, I didn't ask for these accidents. People ask for these financial situations. Like I said, I know people that make $5,000 a month and they'll lease a Lamborghini out for $2,500 a month, and they have, they have about $300 left over after rent for food for the whole month.
Yeah, people going broke trying to look rich.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's very common. I think the thing is what I've noticed too is obviously, you know, you get like these little pockets of the population in the U.S. and some people, they have that they want to be like they have all this pride. So they say, you know, I got my car. You know, people, immigrants, they come to the U.S. and a lot of them, they have better, nice looking cars than people who are U.S. citizens here working their butts off too. But it's because they have that mentality where when they come to the U.S., all of a sudden, you know, they fall prey with these dealerships that give them these cars with these real high interest and really the loans that are going for, 72 months or 84 months, 96 months, whatever it is. And so a lot of these people, they get trapped in these loans but they do it to brag too. So they can show their family members, hey, I'm actually doing something for myself. Here I go. I got this brand new truck paying $1,700 a month. You know? So you get that a lot. People bragging. You know, they try to show off to their family, but really no one cares. You know, at the end of the day, these vehicles, to get you from point A to point B, you can have a Toyota, you can have a Honda, or you can have an Escalade. I don't know.
Well, speaking of cars, what's your opinion on those, both of you guys, what's your opinion on those type of fancy cars, like $180,000, $100,000, $200,000 cars parked at the Social Security office.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
What's my opinion on those vehicles?
Dude, I see $100,000 vehicles parked at the welfare food stamp office, my friend.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well,
how does that happen?
The system is severely broken. There's so much fraud, and it needs to be cleaned up. It probably never will. And it's another reason why we're $35 trillion in debt.
I literally see that when I drive by the Social Security office. I see Escalades, Corvettes, Lexus, all these nice cars, and they're so poor, right? They're going in, they're starving. I make no money. I need food stamps. I need welfare. And when they're done, they open up their Louis Vuitton purse and put their ID back in, and they go take off in their $80,000 Lexus. And I'm just like, how is that possible? But
maybe it's a cash business that they're running.
Yeah, probably.
They could be running a cash business, or they could be underreporting on the taxes, or not reporting on their tax returns. They could also just be abusing the system. You have a two-income household, but you have the benefits being requested by the spouse with the children, and then you have the significant other making all that cash, and maybe they just tell the government that there's zero income in the household when it's not true. Yeah. There's a lot of ways that they can skirt around the system.
Yeah.
But then the government needs to be having more boots on the ground to be able to determine whether or not these people are lying, like actually going and doing physical observations on where they live, to be able to see, maybe take a trip out there to see how is it that they live. There has to be people, just like IRS auditors, when they go to people's businesses, to be able to determine if there's fraud. That all can be done, but the government doesn't have enough resources to be able to take care of it. I think that's the problem too.
Wow. Yeah.
And when you're talking about cars, high net worth, you're talking about $200,000 cars here, right? 180,000, 200, 250 Lamborghinis, Lamborghinis, McLarens. Yeah, those cars, some of them, you have all these people that use them to be able to generate income, but then you have a lot of people that have them, and they can really afford them. I mean, they usually pay them in cash. But someone who's financing one of those vehicles, I think that's pretty foolish. You would have to be very, very, very well off, to the point where, your dividends and your interest and whatever income you make, or whatever rental income you make, can pay off that car. Or if you have the money to be able to pay off that car in full tomorrow if you need to, then
also you got to have the money to maintain that car. Those cars are a fortune to maintain and repair.
Yeah, absolutely right.
That's true too.
I have a friend who's he's a luxury he has a luxury dealership out here in the valley, and he always tells me, I train him like almost every day. He always tells me anybody who has car payments on a Lamborghini, G-Wagon, whatever, he says they're broke. He's been doing this for like 20 years. He said they're broke. He said, he say people come in all the time. Oh, I make $2 million a month. I make, $20 million a year. And he's like, you make $20 million a year, but you can't pay off your $150,000 car. He's like, they're all lying. He's like, they're all lying. And this guy, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. This guy, I mean, he has no reason. He doesn't have any filter. And he pretty much told me everybody's business out here that try to buy a car from him. So it's just, let's put it this way. A lot of people who act like they're rich, they got denied at his office. But speaking of that, we have about 30 minutes here. I wanted to pick your guys' brain, Jeremiah, you and Enrique, but Jeremiah first. Where do you think this is going? This whole country is going to go on the spiritual side. Where do you think we're heading into? You think we're heading into some wars, or what's going to happen? We got some we got UFOs. We got UFOs out in the news. We got the occult out in the news. We got satanic pedophiles out in the news, all in the open, including P. Diddy and everybody else. And where's this going to go? With all this information being out in the open, people still don't want to believe it. Where's this going?
A lot of my listeners, when I read the comments, say we're past the point of no return. Past the point of no return. It's over. I'm going to be optimistic. I think a lot of it really depends on this election and how this election goes. I think this is it for America. I think in November, that's going to tell us a lot. if it goes the wrong way, I think we're in very, very big trouble. I'm going to keep the faith. I'm going to be optimistic, but we're in very, very big trouble. I mean, we're on a ship. It's taking in a lot of water. I just don't know. I don't know. It's just something we're going to have to really pray on and see how it plays out. But when you look at what this country has done, you really wonder how God would even want to save it. But kidding. I do believe that there's still good people here, and I think that this is it in November. If we don't turn it around, I don't know. Like a lot of people say, it may already be too late. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I don't really know.
Wow.
It's something that I'm saying my prayers at this point, because I've never seen the country this destroyed, and morally, spiritually, financially, socially. I look at what's happening socially on the streets of America. People are just, I mean, they're just like animals. And the amount of violent crime that we're seeing now in America, the drug use, the porn addiction, the Satanism, the churches are nowhere. The churches have disappeared. The churches have been a huge disappointment. The churches have sold out, and that's really sad. And we're going to be judged for that.
Yeah.
And these churches and ministers will be judged for this. I don't know. It does not look good.
No, it doesn't.
Enrique?
Yeah. Well, the thing is this country's morals are deteriorating over the years. Mm-hmm. You always hear about, I get a lot of clients that are over 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. And I've asked them questions about that, about the morality of this country and where it's heading. And obviously, when they were children, everybody in the U.S., everybody was a lot more formal. The way they spoke, the way they acted, their manners,
the way they dressed.
How they, obviously the way they dressed. The women, how they were very respectful. They were respectful to everybody. Everybody was respectful. The children were more respectful. Obviously, you have, their outliers, because you're always going to have people that are rebellious. But for the most part, the general population of America was just, they had a lot more morals. Everybody respected each other more. And you could tell, like, by the way to the media, the way the media was portrayed. You look at old billboards, old magazines, old books, you read, and you can see that everything was a lot different. And over the years, as time went on, obviously with the internet and all the social media, and especially once the internet, I think, started going viral in the 90s and 2000s, I feel like at that point, you started seeing people lash out, and there was a lot more. The internet kind of became dumber, because when the internet was first introduced, you would have a lot of smart people. Like if you would go in the chat rooms, for the most part, you would get a lot of educated people.
That's true.
But then as time went on and the internet got proliferated with more people and the general population came in, broadband became available, everything started getting, with AOL, and you started getting everybody coming in. That's when you started seeing that the internet started getting very corrupt, and that's when you started seeing a lot of people in there. You started getting the majority of the population starting to lash out and do things that they weren't supposed to. And before you know it, you got the rise of OnlyFans, you got the rise of Instagram, you got the rise of Facebook, and all this artificial intelligence and everything going on. So it's just making everything become a lot more corrupt. And I think people are starting to bend, and the morality is just disappearing. Nowadays, you got a lot of people that just don't care. They just do whatever. And it's making people, how do you say it? It doesn't faze them anymore when they see something.
Desensitized.
Before, it was a real big deal. But desensitized, right? So right. So now you see something and your brain says this is normal. Yeah. When in reality it's not. But it's just that's the way it is now.
I can't help but to say that verse really quick. That verse, "Woe unto those that call good evil and evil good." I think that's the book of Luke. I think. But go ahead.
Yeah. Lionel.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen, like I have, you go to a restaurant, family of 4, everybody is on their phone just sitting there. Nobody talks.
Yeah.
The whole family is on their phone doing God knows what. And so people can't communicate now. They're zombies. They're addicted to their phones. And it's really, really sad. When I was a kid, it was, man, we wanted to be out all day. We were playing sports, riding bikes, and just look at the physical condition of the average young person today, and that tells you all you need to know. I mean, people just sit on a phone all day or on a computer, and I've never seen a society, probably anywhere in the world, that is as out of shape as the one we're in right now.
Yeah, reminds me of that Disney movie they put out called WALL-E.
Oh yeah,
they all get bigger and bigger and fatter and fatter. Everything's done for them. And you're right though. When I was younger, we didn't have cell phones. We had our imaginations. We were more active, running around, and we lived on a ranch. I used to run across the desert like a mile to my friend's house. You just run, not even stopping. And that's
right.
We played football, baseball. There were no really no video games at that time. Later, that's when they came out with when they first came out with the Atari, and that was probably back in the early '90s or maybe even the '80s. I don't even know, but it was a long time. Yeah, in the '80s, it was a long time ago. And I remember those times. And now I look around in the cell phone. The Apple was it an Apple 16 now? I mean, when it gets to an Apple 100, it's probably going to be, I don't know, an implant in your head, your forehead or something. Who knows, right?
Yeah, Apple 20.
It's just crazy now.
And even the phones have gotten so expensive that everybody finances their phone too.
I know.
They're not even financing cars, they're financing their phones.
Not me, man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm guilty of that, man. I have every iPhone that I get is like $200 down, $30 a month for the next 3 years. I'm just like, take it, dude. Just get it out of my face. And I just let them do it to me because I just get sucked into some of this BS most of the time. But I've been working a little bit better. The things I've worked on, I used to always buy shoes, and I stopped buying shoes. I used to always buy, like new clothes. I stopped doing that. That's one thing that I stopped doing. And then over the time, I always wanted and every time I had a car, I always needed a 2-door. I needed a V8, V6. I got over that shit. And pretty much now, those are little things I've taken steps to do. I don't spend money. I don't go out and eat anymore as much. Just little things like that have helped me out a lot. And, I no longer, just it's simple, just buy what you can afford.
Yeah, I've cut things out myself.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
I think that's one of the best things that people could do right now is get out of debt, because debt is a killer. And as we get deeper into this financial depression, debt is going to wipe out a lot of people. And we saw, I lived through 2008. It was a real wake-up call, real lesson. And I saw a lot of people really wiped out. And some people never came back. Some did, but it took many, many years for them to do it. But, I mean, if you're like, an older person, you're not going to be around long enough to come back after this one. I mean, the Great Depression, the last one, I think took, 10 years to come out of, 20 years for the stock market to return. This could be much, much worse. We've never had this much debt. Global debt's $313 trillion. U.S. debt, 35 plus trillion. Unfunded liabilities were like 200 trillion. So this is like multiple nuclear bombs waiting to go off in the banking system, and people have nothing but debt. Everything they have is debt. They have financed everything. And so when they pull the rug out on these markets, it's going to get very, very ugly.
What do you think? Do you think when this new administration got in, when they decided to cut oil fracking and go green, and do you think that created the U.S. economy, because gas prices went up like crazy after that? I mean, it's just...
and then what they did, to slow the gas prices down is they wiped out 50% of our strategic petroleum reserves that we need for war,
you're right.
for emergency.
Yep.
And so that has really put us in jeopardy too. So with everything happening around the world, half of our reserves are gone just so they could push gas prices down 50 cents, 25 cents. It was all political.
It is. It is. And this, I mean, I get it, of course, we want, cleaner energy, right? But when you look at this, these electric cars, they're all great and dandy. However, the majority of our power comes from coal, from gasoline,
right,
from oil,
right,
from natural gas.
right.
So you're going to plug in 5 million more cars. how's the grid going to handle? The grid can't even handle the summer sometimes in some states, and they go have brownouts.
Exactly. But you're going to have to mine. Well, then you have to mine more lithium for the batteries, right? So that's really good for the environment. And then we've got 12-year-olds in these mines in third world countries. And then what happens to the batteries when you have to discard the batteries?
Exactly.
It's another environmental mess. Then you're relying on China for the batteries. And then you got to produce more coal, more electricity to charge the cars. And then the cars are heavier. They tear up the roads more. So I don't see how these basically these golf carts are really good for the environment. When we're producing energy so clean now and so efficiently, EV, we're being sold a crock of goods here.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, when I look at the EVs and, they have to be charged, it's greed, because if they truly want to save the environment, they'd make these vehicles with some kind of solar panels on them, some kind of nano paint that acts like a solar panel, but they won't do it because there's no money in it for them. Right. That's truly going green.
We do everything cleaner here than the world. What are you going to do about China? I mean, China is like one of the dirtiest places on earth. Yeah. They don't care. They go all over the world and mine. So we can sit here and go, oh, we can do this and this and this. But what about the rest of the world? They're not doing it. China's opening up like 2 coal mines a week. They're just going full throttle.
Yeah.
So we're going to sit here and have windmills, and China's just going to take over the world as they're doing now.
Yeah, it's just a big mess, this whole energy thing. And you're right about China. It's just, we're seeing these things happen in our lifetime, which is, it's amazing, but yet it's also discouraging. You're seeing all this stuff happening and the way it's happening. Yeah. And like you said, people have to go to the polls and vote. What candidate do they believe it's going to bring down inflation? What's going to bring down, all the energy costs, food price, everything, all goods, all products, textiles, whatever. Right. People have to realize, just because you were indoctrinated as a kid to vote for a certain party and hate the other party, you shouldn't be like that. You should be logical. Me, myself, logical. Right. I don't lean to any party. I lean to the one who makes the most sense logically.
100%. Whoever is going to keep this country safe, whatever one is going to help the economy, pay down the debt, and look out for America, that's who I'm going to vote for. But too many people, they're too loyal to a party.
Exactly.
And they have more loyalty to the party than they do to their own country. And they have more hatred. They hate a candidate more than they love their country.
Yeah, because that's all. That's all. These news medias. They're even here, right. Even here in the desert. These local news channels are they're slanted one way, and it's left. Right. And everything they do. Go ahead.
Absolutely. It's all this propaganda and this indoctrination, and we're just hit with it time and time again. I guess if you tell a lie enough times, people will believe it. But it's amazing. Those are the same people at the food line getting government cheese who think everything is okay, and they're going to vote one way for their party, yet they're in a food line getting government cheese, believing this is the future. Well, it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
For me, for that, and I get it. The free food, that's like a drug, because they keep giving it. They keep giving free stuff, and sure, they're going to want to vote that to that party because, hey, man, we hate the other guy because he wants to cut all this out, but yet, go ahead.
But yet that guy's saying, I'm going to get you a job and you're going to make more money, and you're going to be able to maybe at some point go out and buy a house, and you're going to be able to have kids and give them a life. But people would rather just stay on the dole and get their government cheese. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, I mean, it's like like one of the candidates said, correct me if I'm wrong, they want to give out $150,000 to people to buy a house. Who's going to pay for that? It's not free.
Right, exactly. The people working are going to pay for it. Yeah. Well, what was it? Harris said that he's going to give $25,000 for a down payment, $50,000 for a business loan. California said like $150,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, where's the money going to come from? But if you can't come up with your own money to open a business or buy a house, how long do you think they're going to? Yeah, exactly. So it's just like flushing money down the toilet. We saw this in '08, the '08 housing crisis, right? You could get a 0% interest-free loan, adjustable rate. Everybody jumped in, and then 2 million people lost their homes. Didn't last very long. Because you're giving people the ability to buy a home that can't afford it. Not everybody should be able to buy a home because they can't afford it. Not everybody is going to be able to live in a home. I mean, this utopia that everybody, and that's what they, Bush did back in that administration. We want every American to buy a home. Well, not every American should buy a home or can buy a home.
Yeah, I do remember that. I was a security consultant back in, I don't know, like from 2000 to 2006, I think it was, something like that. And all these people were buying new homes, and they were really inflated. They're like $900,000. And after 2008, 2009, they were only worth like $300,000. And these people were getting like zero interest, low payments. And when that balloon payment came, boom, they all lost their houses.
Right.
They had big Hummers and expensive cars. Like, man, how are they doing this? They lost everything, man. And it's just,
But I mean, it's like
crazy.
It's just like we're talking. These people driving Lamborghinis right now, making under $100,000 a year. How are they doing it? Well, they can until they can't, and the day of reckoning is coming because it's all unsustainable.
Yeah, that has to be some kind of sick, some kind of deprived mindset. I don't know what it is, but I still, like, some people just, this is how they are, just don't overthink it. Well, I am overthinking it. How do you have that? I just don't understand where that mindset comes from. You have no money and you're driving a car that's more than 3 years of your income put together. What are you doing? Yeah. Why? I don't, why? And another thing too, and a lot of people are going to laugh at this, especially sneakerheads. At the mall, every Saturday, there's like a new Jordan shoe that comes out, a Michael Jordan shoe. And if people that know Jordans, they're numbered from 1 to 23 or something like that. There's a bunch of Jordans, but they're specific numbered ones. And the numbered ones are the ones that Jordan wore throughout his years playing the game. Okay, Jordan 1, Jordan 2, Jordan 3, whatever. I see those shoes are like $200-$300 a pair. And I see people at the mall lined up to buy those shoes, and they're on the Sun Bus Pass. How... It's like, it's so backwards, and it blows my mind. I'm like, so you rather have cool Jordans and ride the bus than drive a car? I don't understand it. Yeah. But anyways, I digress.
What, Enrique still there?
Enrique.
Yeah, I'm here. Enrique.
Okay. I want to ask both of you a question. If someone out there, let's say they get a new inheritance, or they have an inheritance coming up or something, what would you recommend them doing? So let's say they got $1 million for conversation's sake. What would you recommend they do with that money? Would they open an account with a simple interest or compound interest? Would they open a trust? What should they do? Because there's a lot of people out there probably have this money and are not doing anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, it all depends on the risk tolerance of the person, too, because there's people out there that also you have to look at their age. Mm-hmm. And because if they're an older person, like sometimes you'll have people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s that are getting an inheritance from someone that's probably 80 or 90. Or sometimes you'll have someone maybe in their 20s or 30s that's getting inheritance from someone that's probably in their 60s or 70s. So that also can determine on where the money's probably better set. If they're younger, their risk tolerance is higher, which means that they have the opportunity to be a little bit more risky with the money. But it doesn't mean that they should be risky with everything, which means that they should have a portion of it where they can go ahead and if they want to take the risk and they want to put it into cryptocurrency, they can do it. Why? Because they're younger, they can tolerate it, and it has to be a small amount of the giant portfolio. Obviously, it's always good to be diversified. So I always tell them, you need to be diversified. You want to get some real estate. Obviously, you want to get some gold and silver. Obviously, a lot of people probably won't like it, but, if you want to be in the stock market, maybe you want to get some shares in the stock market as well. Then you want to have a business investment, different types of business investments. So if you have an ability, maybe try to start a small business so that way it can generate more money. Right. And then obviously you also want to have a pocket of that money in an area that generates you maybe some CDs or maybe some treasuries or, just diversify your money. And according to your age, you can either go, more conservative or a little bit more risky. If you're older, then it's better to be more conservative because obviously you don't want that money to go to waste. Or if you need that money in the future, if you need to get rid of some of that money, you don't want to be too down because, economies go up and down. So the real estate market could tank, the securities market could tank, anything could happen. But the thing is, if you're well diversified, you can weather the storm better. So, but I'm not the one to tell people where to put their money.
Right.
I can just kind of tell them, look, these are your options.
Yeah.
And at that point, they can either make their own decisions or they can go look for a financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
I can give them a couple names and they can interview them.
Right.
But I can give them like a rough idea as to how they need to be managing their money.
Yeah. You know what's amazing to me is that, all these banks, they only give you like, what's the interest rate now, like on a CD, like maybe 4%, I'm guessing 3%.
Yeah, 4 or 5%, 4 or 5%, depending on the amount you put in.
And what's ridiculous about it, the overnight bank sweep account, when they sweep your account, they're making almost 5% a night.
Yeah.
So it's just,
that's true.
They're making all this, massive amounts of money off. Let's say someone has $1 million sitting in their account and their account's being swept every night at 4.83% every night.
Yeah.
And they're only giving them like 5% on a CD. That's robbery, man. And so
it is.
I say,
it is.
Anyone out there who's got millions and millions of dollars, you should go into a bank and say, you know what? I want 20%. I want 15%. Oh, we can't do that. Okay, but you can make 5% on sweeping my account every night, right? I'll go somewhere else because eventually you'll find somebody's going to pay you more than that. I mean, it's maybe in a foreign bank. I don't know, but do everything legally. Talk to a financial advisor and make sure everything's legit. But man, 3 or 4% on a CD, if you have all that, millions of dollars, it's just man, I just don't get it. The government's making all this money off the sweep accounts, and we're still broke.
All right, guys, just letting you guys know this card only has about 6 minutes left. So if you guys have any closing statements, please let me know. Go ahead, Don. You have any closing? Okay. I'll ask Jeremiah. So Jeremiah. Let's ask Enrique first. Enrique, you have any closing statements, any advice, any plugs you want to put in, where to contact you or stuff like that, or you want to stay private?
Well, basically, tax season is already around the corner, so if anybody needs help to prepare their tax returns, I'm an IRS enrolled agent, and I can represent you in front of the IRS or the state, whatever state you are in. I do taxes for individuals all over the world, so I can actually practice any state and even international people that are U.S. citizens that live in a different country. I can help them out. So, if anybody wants to reach me, they can always call me. My office number is 760-772-2007. They're more than welcome to give me a call, and I can go ahead and try to see if I can help them out. If for some reason it's something that I cannot do, I'll be honest with them. But for the most part, most of the people that have contacted me over the years, I'm able to give them a helping hand, or I'm able to direct them as to where they need to go.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Jeremiah, you have any advice, any closing statements, plug in your YouTube channel, all that good stuff?
I will say this. We will continue to monitor all events socially, politically, financially, all that good stuff daily, because this thing is changing so fast. A lot of moving parts. We've never seen things accelerating this fast and changing so quickly. So just come to my YouTube channel, Jeremiah Babe. That's B-A-B-E, like Babe Ruth, B-A-B-E. And I'm putting up videos daily. So come over, check it out, comment, like, subscribe. Love to have everybody come check it out, because so much is happening every day. We never know what we're going to wake up to tomorrow morning. So we have a lot to talk about. So come over and check it out. And thanks for having me on the show tonight. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Jeremiah. Don't hang up yet. We'll stay on the line. We're going to close out for a second here. Thank you, Jeremiah, for coming on. Thank you, Enrique, for giving us your time. These guys are my friends and my clients, so God bless them. And they just I always get connected to people that seem to be at the right time in the right place. You know how
Can
how
I
that
say one more
goes.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say one more thing really quick?
Go ahead.
Your circle of friends is going to be extremely important with everything that's coming. Surround yourself with good people, with lions, not rats, not people that don't bring anything to the table. Surround yourself with people that bring things to the table. surround yourself with good people, good friends. That's going to be very, very important. That's it.
All righty. Don't hang up, guys. Stay on for a second. I'm going to close out. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Sabbath at Midnight. I'm your host, Lionel Tavares, here with co-host Dominic. And thank you for listening. I hope you guys all learned something new. My guests, don't hang up. We're going to close out in a second here.